Hello and welcome, I'm Ruby Barlow and you're watching the World Report on NewsX World. Let's take a look at some of the headlines of this hour. Iran offers to help facilitate dialogue between Afghanistan and Pakistan after Islamabad declares open war on the Taliban and launches airstrikes on Kabul following border clashes. Foreign Minister Abbas Araghchi says Tehran stands ready to assist talks to reduce tensions and promote cooperation between the two neighbours. Hillary Clinton tells a congressional panel that she has no knowledge of Jeffrey Epstein's crimes and calls for President Donald Trump to testify under oath about his past association with the financier. She testifies behind closed doors as Bill Clinton prepares to appear after both agree to comply with a subpoena from the Epstein investigation, while all deny wrongdoing. The United States and Iran make progress in talks over Tehran's nuclear program, Oman says, but end of hours of negotiation without a breakthrough amid a massive US military buildup and threat of possible strikes. Mediator Oman confirms both sides will resume discussions after capital-level consultations, with technical talks set for next week in Vienna following meetings in Switzerland. Ukrainian and US officials meet in Geneva for a post-war reconstruction talks despite a deadlock with Russia, as Kyiv seeks to finalize key settlement details at a trilateral meeting next month. Top negotiator Rustem Omarov says participants speak with President Volodymyr Zelensky after the session, which follows a night of Russian attacks on Ukrainian infrastructure. Netflix says it will not raise its takeover offer for Warner Bros. Discovery, effectively ceding the media giant to a rival bid from Paramount Skydance. The streaming company says the deal is no longer financially attractive after Warner Bros. Discovery's board declares Paramount Skydance's proposal superior under its existing merger terms. A US official says at least 2 Americans are on a speedboat fired upon by Cuba's Coast Guard, leaving 1 dead and another injured off the island's northern coast. 4 people are killed and 11 wounded in Wednesday's incident, with officials saying others on board include a US K-1 visa holder and possible legal permanent residents. Britain's ruling Labour Party loses a key Manchester by-election to the left-wing Greens, with official results dealing a fresh blow to Prime Minister Keir Starmer. Green candidate Hannah Spencer wins in Gorton and Denton with nearly 15,000 votes, as Labour falls to 3rd place behind Reform UK, in one of its traditional strongholds. Denmark will hold a parliamentary election on March 24th, Prime Minister Mette Frederiksen announces, amid a surge in support over her stance against US pressure on Greenland. Frederiksen has rallied European leaders against President Donald Trump's renewed interest in annexing the Arctic island, with polls suggesting the dispute boosts her popularity despite domestic cost of living concerns. And now to a breaking story. According to reports, heavy GPS jamming has hit parts of Iran, including Tehran. This comes as Iranian Foreign Minister Abbas Araghchi has said that the latest bout of talks with the United States on Tehran's nuclear program and the lifting of sanctions have made good progress. Meanwhile, according to reports, US envoys Jared Kushner and Steve Witkoff are disappointed after what they heard from the Iranian side during the talks. And these talks also come amongst a major build-up of US military power in the region. Now joining us live, we have retired Major General Dr. Rajan Kochhar, who is a senior strategic and international affairs expert located in New Delhi. Dr. Rajan Kochhar, thank you so much for joining us today in the studio. Do you see the GPS jamming as part of war rehearsals for a possible confrontation between Iran and the US, given the fact that we have seen such a major build-up of US firepower in the region?
Thank you very much. I think it's quite a significant development because these talks are still barely concluded and not much headway is going through. So possibly these are psychological operations or mind games, which United States is also trying to play to tell Iran that this is a precursor of more major uh, things to come, because this is a form of a cyber attack, and GPS spoofing taking place all over, and especially in Tehran. So it's a strategic signaling, I would say that, to tell Iran that they need to be serious in the talks, because 3 rounds of talks have taken place, and not much tangible ground has been covered. So I think it's a two-fold thing. It's a strategic signaling. At the same time, as you also mentioned, that it's also kind of a rehearsal for the US forces to see that how effective this spoofing can be, this jamming can be, and maybe the areas will also get enlarged, because right now it may be restricted to a particular area, a particular place like Tehran. But in times to come, they may expand the scope of this cyber attack to other places in Iran also. So I think it's a twofold messaging which is going to Iran as of now.
Dr. Rajan, why do we see the messaging coming out of these latest meetings perhaps be a bit conflicting, as the American side has said that they're disappointed and the Iranian side has said that they've seen good progress? What could this signify? Sorry.
Yeah, a very good question, because it shows a sign of desperation on the part of Americans. Because you need to understand that any force of this magnitude, which is deployed in the high seas, and especially the 2 aircraft carriers, second one also crossed Greece and likely to be there. Uh, Keeping such high value assets in this area requires very high level of maintenance, and it's not easy. Like one of the aircraft carriers, I was given to understand, had to dock in Saudi Arabia because there was a blockages of toilets and things like that. And of course, the other parts also there, the maintenance part also, because continuously operating such heavy machines over a period of time is normally not done. And this has been now more than 1 month now. So this is a sign of desperation, I would say, or for the Americans also, because Americans are getting a mental fatigue, a battle fatigue, because soldiers also, if you keep them in a state of readiness for such a long time, the battle fatigue also sets in, and then of course it works on the minds of the men also of the US Army, that whether they are really going to be launched into battle, or it will be only a waiting game and then they'll go back. So all these doubts start creeping in the minds of the military forces, because the military wants clear-cut orders, and normally a military will not be waiting or play a waiting game of this kind that has been more than a month and still no clear orders are emerging. So I think that is also one of the reasons why the US is resorting to this.
Dr. Rajan Kochhar, please don't go far as we move to our next story. Pakistan has launched a retaliatory operation after Afghan Taliban forces allegedly attacked several border posts. According to Pakistan, the operation, codenamed Ghazib Lil Haq, began late Thursday night, resulting in the death of 130 Taliban fighters. Pakistan's defense minister confirmed the operation is fully underway, with forces responding strongly to Taliban aggression. In the operation's first update, the Information Minister said at least 133 Taliban operatives were killed and more than 200 injured. Numerous military targets in Kabul, Kandahar and Paktia were destroyed, including 27 Taliban posts and the capture of 9 others. Let's in fact listen in to what the spokesperson for the Afghan military has said.
الحمدلله دا کوم عملیات چې شروع شوي دي دا انتقامي عملیات دي د مشرانو له خوا نه هدایت ده زمونږ په مشرقي زون کې په دې دوه ولایتو کې ننګرهار ولایت او کونړ ولایت کې عملیات په جمعې شپه په 8 بجو باندې شروع شول چې الحمدلله عملیات ښه کامیاب روان دي تر دې دمه د پاکستان لور طرف ته 8 پوستې مجاهدینو فتح کړي دي او دا جنگ الحمدلله همداسې دوام کوي تر څو چې مشرانو هدایت نه کړی دا جګړه به مخکې روانه وي.
Meanwhile, doctors are treating patients transferred to a hospital in Nangarhar, Afghanistan, after a mortar shell hit a refugee camp housing Afghans returning from Pakistan to Afghanistan. Listen in to what the Director of Public Health in Nangarhar had to say.
تدې دمه پر چې کوم 3 بجې دي حوزوي شفخانې ته 9 کسان راوړل شوي دي په دې کې 2 مردانه دي باقي نور ټول زنانه دي او دا کسان ټول کډوال دي الته په عمري کې مرمۍ لګېدلې دي د خوران زخمیان شوي دي او د 2 کسو اپریشن شوی دی یو مریضو کې وخیم دی هغه باندې اوس کار روان دی الله رب العالمین ته صحت ورکړي باقي د ټول کډوال دي شفخانې ته.
And joining us again live, we have retired Major General Dr. Rajan Kochhar, who is a senior strategic and international affairs expert out of New Delhi. Now, Dr. Rajan, what would a open war between Pakistan and Afghanistan mean for security in the region, and how would you see external actors such as the United States and other global interests such as the United Nations affecting the escalation between Islamabad and Kabul?
You see, it's a very significant question because any kind of disturbance of this kind in the Indian subcontinent or in South Asia has ramifications to the other regions also, and therefore I feel that this should not escalate because a couple of reasons. Because if it escalates, it also leads to asymmetric war by the Taliban inside Pakistan, because these suicide bombings are not ruled out. We have seen earlier also in Islamabad, Karachi and Rawalpindi. So I think this needs to de-escalate, because if Pakistan is resorting to these kind of airstrikes, and as we are listening that they are targeting refugee camps and a civil population, then it's a serious humanitarian issue which should be brought up in the Security Council in the United Nations, and I'm sure it will be brought up. And Pakistan, pressure on Pakistan needs to be exerted to stop this forthwith, because a moment you do a thing like this, trying to disturb the territorial sovereignty of a nation, the repercussions can be huge. And Pakistan military is not realizing that there is a capability which exists in the Taliban to strike within Pakistan through a proxy war, through these series of attacks and suicide bombs. Also, there is a sizable population of Afghanis within Pakistan who are also a source of intelligence for Taliban, and the movement of the military convoys within Pakistan can also be targeted. We have seen earlier the sniper actions and the ID blast also taking place on the military convoys. Third is, as you mentioned, the international players and community. China is badly affected because of CPEC. CPEC is beyond schedule now. It's almost 3 to 4 years behind schedule, and there is a security issue in the CPEC. China has already invested $45 billion in Pakistan, so that will be a concern. Secondly, within Afghanistan, all the development projects which are taking place, like India has also started some projects, China's projects are also on. So those projects will also get disturbed. So I think United States, I don't think is going to intervene in between, because United States has no real interest right now in stopping this war, though it was denied the Bagram air base by Afghanistan. But sufficient leverage United States has been able to take out of Pakistan. The Pasni port now is United States has agreed, Pakistan has agreed to uh, make or usage of this port by the US has been agreed upon. So I don't think there is any international pressure right now working except China, because India is not going to interfere into this so big internal matter, and our stated foreign policy has been like that we don't interfere into bilateral affairs of two countries. But possibly, since Chinese interests are affected, I can visualize there may be a mediation by the Chinese, also by Qatar and Saudi Arabia, because these are the Muslim countries who don't want to see two Muslim countries fighting against each other. And previously also Qatar was mediating in Doha. So I see that the move can also take place once again.
Major General Dr. Rajan Kochhar, thank you so much for joining us today in the studio. Now, moving to the United States, Hillary Clinton has once again denied any connection to the convicted sex offender Jeffrey Epstein during her testimony before a Republican-led congressional panel. Speaking to lawmakers in New York, Clinton stated she had no information on Epstein's activities, reiterating that she never knew him personally. She also clarified that her husband, former President Bill Clinton, had severed ties with Epstein years before his crimes came to light. Clinton criticized the closed-door hearings, calling them repetitive, and accused lawmakers of protecting certain political figures. She also called for US President Donald Trump to testify under oath about his own ties to Epstein. Congressman Robert Garcia, a top Democrat on the committee, praised Clinton for answering questions in good faith and fully cooperating with the investigation. He emphasized that she was not invoking her right to remain silent and was committed to sharing all she knew. House Oversight Chairman James Comer called Hillary Clinton's deposition productive and mentioned that she often referred questions to her husband. He confirmed that the committee would release the full videos soon. Let's listen in.
And I think this was a productive deposition today. I think we learned a lot. There were a lot of questions that we asked that we weren't satisfied with the answers that we got, but we will continue to move forward. Any of my colleagues, every member of the committee asked questions, and
I would just say one of the things I learned today is if you really have specific questions about the Clinton Global Initiative or the relationship between the Clintons and Jeffrey Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell, you got to ask Bill Clinton.
And that's a great point. The number of times that she said, "I don't know, you'll have to ask my husband," was more than a dozen.
And now moving to Latin America, Panamanian authorities conducted a search of a local office belonging to a unit of Hong Kong-based conglomerate CK Hutchison. Sources say the raid, which took place on February 27th, was not connected to the ongoing dispute over the Panama Canal ports. Recently, Panama's government annulled CK Hutchison's contracts to operate two crucial port terminals at either end of the canal, a move that the company has continued to challenge. The raid is still under investigation and further details have not been revealed by the officials. And now joining us live, we have Peter Baum, who is an editor of the Weekly Blitz out of London. Peter, thank you so much for joining us live on the show today.
Good day. Good morning to you.
Okay, so the government has said it's not related to the ongoing port dispute. What do you think it could be in relation to, if not this port dispute?
Sorry, I didn't hear the question. Could you repeat it?
Of course, Peter. So the government has said it's not related to the ongoing port dispute. So in your opinion, what could it be in relation to?
I'm sorry, you've lost me. I'm here to talk about the strike in Gaza and the Manchester and Denton by-election.
All right, we'll move on to the questions about those stories then, perhaps after we read through. So as we in a surprise result, Hannah Spencer of the UK's Green Party won the vacant parliamentary seat for Gorton and Denton, defeating Nigel Farage's Reform Party, which finished second. The Labor Party, formerly a dominant force in the area, fell to third place in the vote. The result marks a significant blow for Prime Minister Keir Starmer's party, which had held the seat for nearly a century. The Green Party secured 40.7% of the vote, while Labor claimed only 25.4%. This loss comes just before the May elections, and if Labor fares poorly, then it could lead to a challenge to Starmer's leadership. This is the first time the Green Party has won a parliamentary seat in Northern England. Listen in.
I didn't grow up wanting to be a politician. I'm a plumber. And 2 weeks ago, during all this, I also qualified as a plasterer. Because even in chaos, even under pressure, I get things done. I am no different to every single person here in this constituency. I work hard. That is what we do. Except things have changed a lot over the last few decades, because working hard used to get you something. It got you a house, a nice life, holidays. It got you somewhere. But now, working hard, what does that get you? Because talk to anyone here and they will tell you. The people who work hard but can't put food on the table, can't get their kids' school uniforms, can't put their heating on, can't live off the pension they worked hard to save for, can't even begin to dream about ever having a holiday, ever. Because life has changed. Instead of working for a nice life, we're working to line the pockets of billionaires. We are being bled dry. And I don't think it's extreme or radical to think working hard should get you a nice.
Joining us again, we have Peter Baum, who is the editor of Weekly Blitz out of London. Peter, thank you so much for joining us again. And just in your opinion, as someone out of the UK, do you think that this vote was a vote for the local candidate or a proxy vote against Starmer and his leadership? Starmer has visited the constituency. He made a surprise visit before the polls closed. Do you think this helped or hindered the Labor Party in this particular instance?
It did neither, but it was a vote that was not totally unexpected in this particular constituency, and let me explain why. The current Labour government is probably the most popular Labour government post the Second World War. Every member of the current cabinet is way down in the popularity polls, and the government themselves are particularly unpopular in the United Kingdom because of their failure to enact policies that they were voted in on. Now, in this particular constituency where the Green Party won, it's not unique, but it is symptomatic of those few constituencies where there is a large Islamic vote. The Green Party have been very popular in Muslim constituencies because they are a one policy party in those constituencies, and that's been the war on Gaza, where all the Muslims within that community have determined that they will vote for the party that is most vociferous with the anti-Zionist, anti-Israel agenda. So this particular constituency should not be seen as a gauge for any other constituencies in the UK other than those that have a very large Muslim population. And there are certain current cabinet members of the Labour Party whose seats are very much in jeopardy because there is a large Muslim vote, and the Labour Party have relied on that Muslim vote since time immemorial.
Right, Peter, don't go far as we move to our next story. According to Gaza's health officials, Israeli airstrikes killed 5 people in Gaza on the 26th of February as tensions rise over the ongoing ceasefire. According to officials, 2 people died in an airstrike in Gaza City's Tuffah neighbourhood, while 3 others were killed in drone strikes targeting police checkpoints in Khan Younis and near Bureij camp. The Israeli military claimed the airstrikes targeting a militant posing a threat to its forces in southern Gaza. Medics report several others were wounded, some critically. The violence comes amid growing concerns over the fragile ceasefire, which has been in place since October 2025. Joining us again, we have Peter Baum, an editor from the Weekly Blitz in London. Peter, in your opinion, how does this latest instance of violence affect the fragile ceasefire that is in place between Israel and Gaza in this war, as we have seen several other instances of deaths since the ceasefire was put in place?
Yeah, unfortunately, I don't think it does have any impact on the, let's put it in inverted commas, the ceasefire in Gaza. Now, normally, or let's say up until 3 or 6 months ago, an incident like this would have, in the UK, would have been on every news bulletin. It would have been on rolling news on the BBC. There would have been interviews with Palestinian politicians and Israeli politicians. This latest strike, which happened overnight, I believe, has received virtually no media attention at all. And the Israelis are in a position where they deem they can undertake targeted strikes, as they have done yesterday, without getting the negative political flack that such strikes would have been subject to some months ago. So as far as the ceasefire is concerned, as far as every US politician and Israeli politician is concerned, it's still going on, albeit broken up by incidents like this, which are, I'm afraid, a common occurrence. But whilst the Hamas are in a very weakened position, whilst the pressure is on them, not only from Israel and the USA, but also from Turkey and Qatar and Egypt, the Israelis feel that they can undertake these targeted strikes with little impunity.
Peter, thank you so much for your thoughts and joining us live on the show today. Moving to some tech news, Huawei has recently shifted its focus to sports wearables with the launch of the Watch GT Runner 2 in Madrid. The company introduced the titanium case smartwatch designed for serious athletes ahead of the Mobile World Congress in Barcelona. The watch was endorsed by 2-time Olympic marathon champion Eliud Kipchoge and is reportedly aimed at athletes tracking their training and races. It offers up to 14 days of battery life in standard mode and 32 hours with GPS. According to reports, the watch also features intelligent positioning, heart rate variability tracking, and ECG capabilities. Listen in.
We really listen to runners from around the world to figure out what they need in a watch. And we learned a couple of things. For example, the watch needs to be super light. The watch needs to be super durable. And so we made the watch from titanium. We also learned that pace guidance and GPS are really important to runners. And so we basically built the whole watch around accuracy in GPS and pace. And of course, other health features like heart rate and all of the recovery metrics and sleep tracking.
And that's all that we have time for. Please keep watching NewsX World for more news updates from around the world.